Internet 30
Public
pounds,
transport
electricity
60, food
90
120
pounds,
pounds,
rent 30 pounds,
moving budget 1500.
Got confused? Well, let me explain. In this video, we are going into details of basic minimum expenses when you want to move to Glasgow, and how much your living is gonna cost after you made your move. Bitch! If you do decide to move, you might need some extra cash, and you also might want to watch this video on how to save that cash. It's been 2 years since my girlfriend and I moved to Glasgow, so I finally feel like I can make this video and share how much everything costs to live here and to move here. So, first things to consider. What was our moving budget? So, when we moved here, we had 1500 euros in our pockets, and that turned out to be more than enough to start our new lives here. It was enough for us to pay our first rent and the deposit, and enough to survive until we got our first paycheck. Nothing was really promised to us. We didn't have a job waiting for us, we didn't have an apartment waiting for us. We pretty much started from scratch. But I do have to mention that we were really lucky and we found our jobs in the first 2 weeks. How we got our jobs is a funny story, but I'm gonna make a different video about that. If you don't have a job ready for you, don't worry about it because they're hiring almost all the time, well, except January. So how expensive are apartments in Glasgow? The cheapest livable apartment you could get starting from 400 and then up to whatever you want to spend on an apartment. We have a 1-bedroom apartment in a really nice and quiet neighborhood, so we pay 500 for that a month. The apartment's kind of a 6 out of 10, but the neighborhood's really nice, so I think we pay mostly for that. But that's not the only thing you'll have to pay when you're renting an apartment. You will also have to pay council tax band. It's pretty much the same thing as utility costs. You kind of have to pay for water, bin collection, road maintenance, and other different stuff. You can find all the information about that in the Glasgow City Council webpage that I'm gonna leave in the description below. The tax band can differ from 800 to 3000 a year, so keep in your mind that you might have to deal with those costs as well. Electricity. Electricity costs approximately billions and millions. Okay, maybe it's not that much, but really, electricity here is expensive and everything pretty much runs on electricity, unless your apartment has gas supply. When we try to save money on electricity in the summers, we usually pay about 60 pounds a month, and in the winters, about 90 pounds a month, and that's when we barely heat up the apartment. So you either pay a lot or you're gonna freeze to death. We learned about our electricity costs in the most painful way, and if you want to know about it, you can watch this video about the biggest mistakes I've made. Obviously, you can include other bills, which are internet, which is about 30 pounds a month, which is kinda expensive, and the internet is super slow. Technically, we have the fiber internet, which is supposed to be the fanciest and the fastest internet, but it's still super slow. And I'm not sure if you can even get more expensive internet. And if you don't have a UK SIM card, you might need to get one because a lot of places ask for your phone number, especially your workplace or maybe your bank. Stuff like that. So you might need to consider that as well. So the basic living expenses. For food, we usually spend about 120 pounds for both of us, and I would have to say we do eat like two little piggies. Public transport, we mainly use only the subway, which is the underground metro, and that costs about 140 one way, and if you want to ride the subway throughout the day, you can buy the return ticket, which costs 280 or 3 pounds something. But if you sign up for the smart card, which is free, you will get those tickets a little bit cheaper. So because we go to work 5 days a week, we usually pay about 60 pounds a month for public transport. Or if we want to save money, or if you live close enough to your job, you can just walk and spend no money on public transport. For all the leisure time activities, like going to museums, parks, and libraries, and botanic gardens, all that is for free, because that's kind of included in your city council tax. The minimum wage in Glasgow right now is 7.5 pounds an hour, and that is if you're over 24 years old. If you're under 24, you might get paid just a little bit less an hour. It also depends on the company you work for, because some companies don't even have that under 24 years old rules. Also, each year the minimum wage gets higher just a little bit. So when we moved here, the minimum wage was £6.50 an hour, and in April is going to be $7.83 an hour. And even though the salaries get a little bit higher, the living costs don't get that much more expensive. So that's pretty much it. That's all you need to know about how expensive Glasgow is and how expensive it is to move here. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comment section and I would love to answer to them. Alright, thank you so much for watching. This is going to be a video of why I actually moved to Scotland, and you can subscribe to me here. Bye!